Today I'm going to be speaking on Psalm 24 verses 7 to 8, which says, "Lift up your heads, you gates, be lifted up, you ancient doors, that the King of glory may come in." Who is he, this King of glory? The Lord, strong and mighty, the Lord mighty in battle. Now, I've read this verse, for those of you who've watched, from behind various doors, or coming through various doors and gates for the last 3 weeks at Sunday morning services. So it's one I've been reflecting on a bit and managed to memorise, although I kept my Bible with me this time just in case. While I've been reflecting, the boys and I have also been watching a box set on BBC iPlayer called Atlantis, which is kind of a retelling of the ancient Greek Jason and the Argonauts. Lots of leather, lots of fighting. One episode I was watching is a besieged city. They've got their gates down, they've got their doors shut and barred. It's a bit of a light bulb moment of, that sort of gate. That's why you're lifting up the gates, because they don't just open, they can be brought down as a real defence. And it's not kind of a knock, 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 let me in. Actually, opening those gates takes quite a lot of effort. And yeah, so it helped me realise these gates we're talking about, not little gentle garden gates, massive city defence gates. Often the attacking army wouldn't even bother trying to knock the gates down. It made good telling in Jason as they bashed at it with battering rams, but generally that's what besieged is, would just wait outside because it was too much effort to open those gates. They'd just let them come out once they were hungry enough. As people, we don't always put gates down like that, but we're very good at shutting the gates. Toddlers do it in a very obvious way. Hands over their ears. Sometimes they'll even make the noise, "Go away!" La, 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 la. People, we tend to put up more of a cold front. "You all right? Yeah, fine. Nothing wrong? No." And with both, there's not a lot of forcing. Just have to wait till those people are ready to let those gates up, let you in, let you start to come to a relationship with them. So how does that verse apply to us today in these times where we've got to keep the doors and the gates shut? Yes, the verse is that the Lord is strong and mighty in battle. But I don't think that means we're going out. We're not at the point of "you shall go out with joy and be led forth with peace." The Lord is strong and mighty, but just as if I went outside without my shoes on and cut my feet, that's not God's fault because He's provided a way to protect us. We know how to stay safe. We know at the moment we need to stay away from people, we need to wash our hands, we need to wear our face masks. And if we don't take those precautions, that's not God's fault if we suffer the consequences. So sadly, we're not able to invite Tim and Con around for a worship session or Ian round for communion. We need to let God in a different way. So, what does that mean? I think all of us, if we're honest, have parts of our life where the gates have come down. For some of us, it's difficult relationships or experiences that we just aren't ready to deal with yet. Now, I think we need to be careful with those. It may be that you know God is prompting you to sort that out. But life is tricky at the moment. I think a lot of us are coping a day at a time, and we're just coping. And I don't know if now is the time to start picking over things that we find really painful. And it's certainly not the time to open up wounds that you've already dealt with God and start going over old pains. It may be, I think, to start with, just sit, spend time with God. I know one way I cope is by being busy, by keeping my time full. There's lots of things I can be doing, often screen-based, that keep my head distracted, so I don't have to worry. This shouldn't be about worrying, but it is sometimes about making space to be with God. For me, I know one area I've been challenged on is I need to worship more. I need to take that time, that space, to spend time reflecting on who God is and praising him. Now, I have quite a wide musical taste range, so sometimes it's putting on a Hillsongs track, listening to that. Sometimes it's putting on Handel's Messiah or a male voice Welsh choir and listening to that kind of music. I also connect with God through nature, and we're so blessed to live in such a glorious part of the world. So I try and make sure I get out every day and just marvel at God's creation. It may be that's a discipline that needs to be put in place. For some of you, it might be making a call to a friend who you know might well challenge you on some things, might ask those questions about how you're doing you don't really want to think about. It might be putting some disciplines in place, just as Ian mentioned on Sunday. Committing to setting time aside to reading the Bible, or sitting with the Lectio app, or discussing Sunday's sermon with a friend. Maybe for some of you, letting the light in means thinking more about who is this God? Is God somebody we have a relationship with, or has God moved from being a concept to somebody we know? And spending time thinking about that, talking that through with a friend, praying about that. Again, there's brilliant resources online. I know some people are going through the Alpha course with friends and thinking about that. So as you go forward, let's spend that time with God. I'd start by sitting and say, God, I want to lift up those gates. I want to get to know you better. I want to let that light in. Please show me how.